Here's another question. This came in through email, and this is from Tyler in Madisonville. He says, what is the Gatewood Riley position on reproductive rights and a woman's right to an abortion? I guess he's asking, do you support abortion?
No, I don't support abortion. I don't support abortion. Luckily, as a governor, I don't have a say in it. I don't have anything as far as I can't change the law on it. But personally, I was raised Catholic, and I do not support abortion. I don't know of anybody who's for abortion. The question is do I support the woman's right to choose? I'm not going to put a law in front that makes them a criminal, but that doesn't mean that I had to personally accept it.
I think I'm in agreement. I don't personally accept it. One of the concerns with this issue is that I really wish government were entirely out of this. I think this is a moral issue more than anything. But I certainly understand why it is there, so I'm not playing Pollyanna here with it. But I really do think that the government need not be involved in this issue.
Gun control.
Well, folks, I wrote a little book back in 2004. It's called The Last Free Man in America. I don't know whether you all can see that or not. But that baby on there is an M60. And the lady who was thinking about publishing the book says, why are you carrying that big gun on the front cover of that, Mr. Calvert? And I said, because I'm a serious man. I said, do you know what my definition of handgun is? She said, no. I said, that's what you use to fight your way back to the car to get your real stuff out. So I think she was from New York. I don't think she knew how to handle that. But I've gotten the endorsement of the the Gun Owners of America in my last 4 races. And, so I'm heavily in favor of the Second Amendment. I think it's the reason we're still sitting here today.
Well, and I want to point out, too, statistically speaking, when you do hear about the terrible murder stuff and so on associated with guns and as they promote gun control, I want to advise everyone that women are not included in those statistics. So categorically, we commit none of the crimes or murders of passion or so on. So I'm definitely an advocate that every woman should own a gun. And no one has an argument against us, frankly.
Here's another question. This came via Facebook. Sharon in Lexington says, what are your thoughts about tearing down Phoenix Park in Lexington? I heard this morning, which would be last week, that it is a possibility before the equestrian games come to town next year. Phoenix Park is where a lot of the homeless in Lexington have to sleep and eat.
I got a call today from a faith-based group that feed the homeless in Phoenix Park on Sunday. They go down, they feed the homeless there at the park. He told me that he had heard that they were going to destroy the park so that it would not be visible during the World Equestrian Games, which are being done in Lexington. I think that is an absolute shame. I think the city ought to face up to the homeless problem that it has and fix the problem, but not by destroying what everybody else enjoys, but fix the problem in some other manner than destroying a perfectly good park just because it's attracting people that you don't want visitors to see.
And it's pretty obvious. Lexington needs to fix things before they tear things down. There seems to be an ongoing problem there in Lexington, and it's all kind of based around the World Equestrian Games. So right now there's a nice big block where the buildings were torn down, and yet there's still no development occurring in that. So I think that before it would be okay to tear this down, I think they need to provide adequate housing and shelter and support to those individuals residing there. So yes.
Yeah, well, we're a people-based administration. The people come first. No, not some political correctness. It's the people. We're there to serve the people. It's time the dollars and the attention to spend on serving the people instead of other people's political agenda.
Supporting that faith-based individual, that's huge for this administration. I helped bring the Faith-Based and Community Initiative program to the state of Kentucky and helped to create an office within the governor's executive branch. So I'm very much an advocate for those programs and assisting people through faith-based and community initiative.
Talking about some faith-based initiatives and some things, you're both familiar, I guess, with Operation Unite and
yes.
Pride.
Yes.
They're basically located here in eastern Kentucky. Are those two organizations that you would like to see expanded, possibly statewide, one or both?
No, absolutely not. The war on drugs is a total failure. I don't know why we continue to spend good tax dollar after failed policy. For the last 20 years, I've sat here saying all we need is more money and more officers. And every year I hear it. Every year I see the budget and number of officers increase, and now they tell me that the problem is bigger than ever. I mean, My God, Rita Mae Brown said insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. It just has not worked. And, we can all sit up and beat our chests about law and order, tough on crime. But that's been completely bastardized now. I mean, they've used newspeak on it. Republicans never saw a bloated police state bureaucracy that they didn't try to pass off as a legitimate law and order philosophy. It's gotten totally out of hand. But we're going to take the government out of your bedroom and your bloodstream and your brain and your bladder and your billfold and your back pocket and your internet bulletin board and put them back in a little box where they belong. We're going to take the law enforcement dollar and go after the serious, truly hard and dangerous drugs. And I don't want to hear any more about this discredited law and order position that we got to put them in jail. Jail is the budget buster of every county in the state. You can't put them all in jail, and I just don't see why we ought to replicate even more enforcement agencies to go out there, pick on the marijuana smoker and pick on the kids out there who are just trying to be kids.
Now, in defense of Unite, I guess I should at least point this part out. Part of theirs is arrest and convictions. Part is treatment and education. What about those aspects of it?
I haven't seen a law enforcement agency yet that was able to handle both ends of it.
Well, I think you have to admit, though, that their focus, they've been much more successful in the arrest side of it, and we haven't seen a lot of treatment and education on the side. They've done some programs that I've seen, but as far as treatment, one of the things that concern me is that, treatment is a very different branch of government than justice and law enforcement. And I don't know if they're planning on inevitably staffing for those treatments, but what's happening if you just arrest with no treatment, well, you can just plan on arresting those same people over and over and over. So they're not moving to treatment, and I haven't seen a great deal of education, but the program is, it's been going on for a few years. I would hope that they would expand in reference to those areas, and I think that it would be proven more successful moving that way.
Well, let me get into this too, folks. The decimation of the Bill of Rights in the name of the war on drugs has been extraordinary. People don't have any rights to privacy anymore. When you talk about drugs, break down the door. I mean, I'm a criminal defense attorney, and the kinds of parameters of privacy and individual sovereignty that I grew up with, and as a young man, no longer exist out there. You don't have a basic right to privacy anymore. I've had circuit judges tell me you don't have a right to privacy in your home anymore, Garpeth. Now, they can come through the door. They can say they smell marijuana and come through the door, your door. And so, I mean, I am right there on the front lines of it. This law enforcement has gotten out of hand. And it's time that we took a real fresh look at how we're spending our law enforcement dollar, because so much of it is being wasted in cronyism and corruption. It is a shame.
We got less than 2 minutes. I'm going to give each of you about 45 seconds to tell us why you should be elected governor.
Folks, I just want to see if America works anymore. I just want to see if we can lift Kentucky out of poverty by the American principles of depending on you and depending upon your self-determination, depending on your right to privacy, depending upon you being able to lift yourself up and work hard to be assessed. I don't want to take your gotten gains by taxing you on it. I don't want to disrupt your right to privacy. I want you to be happy. I want government to uplift you, educate you, enlighten you, and ennoble you and help you in every way we possibly can. I don't think you're going to get a better offer from that. I don't think you've ever had a better offer than that. I don't think you're going to get one. I think this is your one and only chance in this lifetime to see if America still works. Hey, if you've given up on America, you can vote for one of the other guys. Dee?
I think more than anything, you'll have a team of individuals, and truly it will be a team representing the people of Kentucky, and that's what's most important. So I think that I am the single most qualified individual running for lieutenant governor right now, and probably the most representative of the state in whole. I want to support Gatewood Galbraith and his continuing message for the betterment of Kentucky and the betterment of the people of Kentucky.
Gatewood, good to see you.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you so much. Really honored.
Dee, good to see you. And thank you as well for joining us for this edition of Issues and Answers, the Mountain Edition. We hope to see you again next week. Have a good night.
Issues and Answers, the Mountain Edition, is sponsored by Hazard Mayor Bill Gorman and the City Commissioners. Come home to the mountains.